Perspective, it's a trip, and for me, it always comes at like the most random times. Those like aha moments where your brain is just offline and checks out for a minute, and then it just hits you with the fact and it totally shuts down your wiring. You're like, wait a minute, how the hell did I get here? That classic example is like, you're musically space cruising to work or something, and all of a sudden you cross a bridge, turnpike, something, and somehow you just arrive on autopilot, and you're like, how the hell did that happen? Well, I had one of those moments today in line at a store. I was on my lunch break and I was like trying to quickly rush in, grab some food. And on the walk into the said store, I noticed this dude kind of holding up the building. He looked very important. I thought maybe he changed the propane. Maybe he worked for this Safeway store. Maybe he was changing the antifreeze. I don't know. He looked very important. He was wearing this jacket. As I got closer and it said, Sundance Film Crew, property of Sundance Film Crew. And I was like, oh man, this guy's a big deal. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey bro, and he didn't have a nose. His nose, I just only had his side profile, and his nose was just black and tarry and just like missing right here. It was just chewed up. He's like, you have $1? And I was like, no. I was just there to pick up some caffeine, maybe like not totally trash my diet for the day and then just get back to work. All of a sudden though, I wasn't in the produce line. I was thinking salad. I was just thinking about this homeless fella that was holding up the building outside. And I was like, this guy probably only watches like real films, artsy fartsy Criterion flicks. How the hell did he get that jacket? Utah's a really long bus ride. How did he get there? He for sure would hate the content and the flicks on my channel. And then all of a sudden my phone buzzes, it's Instagram. And the message is like, hey dude, I'm watching all of these fucked up movies this month. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Hey, maybe that's what I'm doing. Maybe I'm slowly introducing and exposing people to the darkest, dankest, most vile flicks. Huh, that's kind of cool. Right on. Cut two, right? I snap back to reality. I'm in line. I guess I just ordered some food or something, and there was a line of hungry high school kids behind me, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about Sundance Steve and contemplating his life choices, how far it is from Oregon to Utah, and I'm in line with General's Chicken, and I forgot the fucking hot mustard. Perspective is a trip. Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Media. This is Josh here, just checking in on you, just really quickly. November, it's Rocky month. Besides watching horror films, on Thanksgiving Day, I do a long binge of all the Rocky movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Son-in-Law, Dutch. We're talking about horror films though tonight. I just didn't want to pretend like I wasn't aware that I was wearing the Italian Stallion, the greatest of all time's robe. Tonight we're talking about August Underground, the 2001 found footage nightmare from Fred Vogel. Be ready. Let's check it out. Before I get into this film, I do feel like I should say viewer discretion is advised. This film is not for anyone, and I think that's kind of the idea. Toe Tag Pictures, a small little mom and pop production from Fred Vogel, released August Underground in 2001, and instantly upped the ante for shot-on-video found footage gore fest. Be warned, the film and the rest in this series have no serviceable plot, no intro or title cards, very little music, just 30 seconds into one of the worst basements in horror movie history before the shit goes down. You better get ready, right? Get ready. Released on New Year's Day, the official synopsis is 2 serial killers go on a murderous rampage. Peter kills for leisure, and his unnamed accomplice kill, maim, torture, humiliate, and violate at will, just for fun. It's all shot on grainy camcorder home video, which adds a certain amount of gravity and a certain gnar to the already horrific subject matter. The intro scene is kind of like a shot of adrenochrome injected, rapidly pulsing into Henry portrait of a serial killer. There's a woman bound, gagged, and tagged in a chair in a room, papered with cheap centerfolds. She's bruised, she's broken, she's bleeding, and she's missing some very sensitive parts. The 2 knuckleheads filming this mess cackle and grope loudly with one another as we learn about humiliation and a bucket. Luckily, there's another carcass chilling in the tub for us to zoom in on, and we establish pivotal plot points. Our lead Peter is something of an amateur surgeon, but struggles with the removal of holding down piss, water, beer smells, and a foot in his other hand. But really, no joking aside, across this cement hell, it's pretty obvious Fred Vogel was trying to prove a point with August Underground. Interestingly, this being his first directorial feature, he wanted to make a first-rate zombie flick, but was wise enough to realize that his lack of experience may turn away the big studio backers. I read that on Wikipedia, so you know, actually there's a ton of interviews on this bad mother effer. He didn't have the experience, so he decided to just make it on his own. And that's probably the best part of this movie. No bother, he thought, he'll just do it on his own. And what he did is fucking mean. And I don't use that word lightly. See, there's a difference between mean-spirited and the term mean. Mean-spirited implies that somewhere along the line there's other artistic direction, some sort of integrity, uses of techniques or style. A film has something else besides just that mean-spirited. Not this thing. It's just mean. Pure and simple. Another fun fact was the initial marketing strategy Vogel envisioned. Vogel initially hoped to conduct kind of like a guerrilla marketing campaign where he was just going to leave these things on VHS tapes placed in random locations around the state, such as parks and playgrounds, for the curious passerby to discover. Imagine now the social landscape of 2001. Finding a tape like this is immediate press. Confiscated, investigated, shut down, immediately. There's no such thing as bad press, right? Forget Slender Man. Pick up a copy of this film next to the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA. Shit. What I can say about August Underground is it's a quick sit at only 70 minutes. Unfortunately, much of the film is absolutely juvenile, jumping from, exploitation and torture to picking up hitchhikers, jamming out at your local dive bar, and extra member group love drug-riddled get-togethers. With all the malice on screen, it feels very cheap, and it does feel relatively authentic. For the first time, that's exactly what Vogel was striving for. He was a first-time director and he wanted to do something different. The film spawned from Vogel's frustration with the serial killer genre. He felt like it didn't really show you what was really going on. You weren't getting enough from the traditional horror films and the traditional serial killer flicks. So, taking inspiration from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, Vogel wanted to make a film that was both ugly and realistic. Ugly realistic is dead on the nose describing the pseudo snuff film that lies within. It still kind of shocks me, to be honest with you, and it does fill me with a little bit of disbelief when I watch it and I think about it. You can't really go back in time from the first time you actually watch this movie. The opening scene is so over the top gratuitous with the butchering of the woman and her dead lover in the tub. It's kind of a core memory for me now. For better or for worse, mostly worse. Two fellas cast aside from society you probably went to school with who have an insatiable love for pickaxes and slaughter. Nasty and nihilistic, true depravity, August Underground flexes on the horror genre and it bucks the traditional tropes and conventions. 100%. Its message is pretty simple. Murder isn't supposed to be fun. This thing is mean, it's crude, it's nasty. If that's what it's going for, then 100% this shit fucking works. But it is hard to stomach in some spots, and you just feel like, I don't know, man. Anybody could have made this film. Nobody probably would have gone as hard as Fred Vogel did. Whatever, it's not supposed to be fun. This release from August Underground, it's filled to the brim with shit-smeared special features, commentary, and behind the scenes. I'm hoping I can kind of show, well, this is the unearthed film. It's got a reversible slip. It's got you got a little bit of disc art here. You've got tons and tons of Blu-ray features and DVD features. It's just a nightmare. But it's kind of interesting, if you're a fan of this series, if you know anything about Toe Tag, it says right on the back, the most disturbing film ever made. So you know it's good, right? You kind of know what you're getting when you get into Fred Vogel and Toe Tag. It's homemade. I believe it's like him and his wife. I believe the house is actually his place, right? There's tons of... And he's supposed to be the nicest guy also. We should probably point that out. That while this is a really nasty, depraved, messed up movie, he's supposed to be the best to work with, the funniest, the nicest guy. There's stories about him going into Canada and getting all this shit stolen because they thought they were bringing like actual snuff films over there. He was detained for hours and hours on end. And it turns out it was just him and his wife making kind of like a pseudo snuff film, trying to have a good time, just trying to set their plate. I don't know. This release, though, from Unearthed, you can get it right now, I think, for like $21 from MVD. If they're still having that sale, that might be off. But it's always sold out. It's always popular. It comes with a slip. 70 minutes. I'm not going to say what do you have to lose because it's pretty vile. It's pretty filthy. 23 years and a few sequels later, I mean, there is a line for decency, and what he does with the lasting impact of this film is shatter expectations, dude, in cold blood. You know, certain films, they carry this weight or this reputation, and there's somebody always talking about this thing on Reddit, the most disturbing film ever made. This always comes up on lists like that, and I think films like August Underground and Toe Tag and what Fred Vogel does over there is 100% warranted. The rumors are true. You put this thing on for your Sunday night little Alaskan paddock fish fry, you're gonna spill tartar sauce and lemon juice everywhere. The baby's gonna be crying. I don't know how you even who's the target audience? How do you watch a film like this? I don't know, man. I rewatched it again last night, and I'm turning the volume down. I'm looking over my shoulder. Like, I feel like I'm on a watch list, right? This is a nasty, vile film. It knows what it is. It fucks around, and you're gonna find out if you put it on. It has, I mean, it's, you know, that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it. And this unearthed release has no business being this good, dude. I just, compared to Gutterballs, you know, watching that and then putting this on, two films that have no artistic integrity, just vile pieces of trash, just gore fest. If you want to see more from me, please like, comment, subscribe, talk some shit down there, and then follow me on social media. And if you can't tell, I was so excited to come on here tonight and just talk about this film, talk about movies. I tried to give myself a day off to just kind of think about what I thought, trying to like kind of soak some of these films in and just let them marinate a little bit. Going back and rewatching them is not the most pleasant experience, but you know, I own it. Someone out there's going to want to borrow it. Maybe I'll do a podcast and we'll talk all about it, right? You never know. So that's why these kind of things exist. I own them because somebody needs to watch it. That's probably not for you, but whatever you're out there, whatever you do, whatever you're out there, thanks for being here. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.